Lena pointed over the side. "Just here," she said quietly, turning to peer back into the water. Then her mouth fell open and she stared. The creature was still swimming out from under their boat, but now it curled down. What she thought a shark or fish was a massive serpent, thicker than her arms could stretch, and at least 30 feet in length, growing longer with every passing second. Dimly, just at the edge of what she could see, Lena thought she spied the reptilian head of the thing, now curling back up at them. Lena turned back to the boat. "Serpent!" she yelled. The ocean erupted at her back. Salt water drenched Lena while the pirate crew let out shouts of alarm. She threw herself to the opposite side of the longboat and turned to face the monster. The serpent rose up some 15 feet above the waves. It glared down at them, two black and belligerent eyes peering from above a coffin-long maw. A rough frill descended from the top of its skull down its length. A wide pair of vicious horns crowned it. Sailors of all kinds agreed that of the many dangers of the sea, none was so terrible as the serpent. Like their land-born draconic cousins, sea serpents were large, powerful, and very dangerous. Lena had heard that the biggest could even threaten armored steamships. This one opened its mouth and hissed. Lena spied rows of razor fangs and a bright red tongue. The smell of rotted fish wafted over them, and she thought she was going to gag. The monster almost seemed to grin. Then the beast rose even higher, bending its length over their heads and diving back into the water on the side opposite. The whole boat shook with the impact, and the gunwales beneath the serpentine body cracked. The crew shouted and scrabbled about for cover, reaching for their weapons. "On your feet, you laggards!" Sarah Lone grabbed up an oar out of the bilge and held it like a club, just as the serpent rose again, enclosing their vessel in a single coil. She stepped forward and swung the oar in a huge two-handed blow. It connected with the maw of the beast before it had risen more than a few feet. The monster jerked back, shaking the whole boat, yowling, rearing in surprise. Lena stumbled and clutched the opposite gunwale. Out in the water, she spied the writhing humps of its body in the surf. The monster had to be 80 feet in length. "Drive it off!" yelled Henry Smalls. "Don't let it crush the boat!" The little steward had a dagger in hand and was hacking and jabbing at the coil in the middle of their ship. His blade scraped and scored and finally hit home. The serpent gave a grunt. Other crewmen set about the monster. A man with filed-down teeth and patchy red hair struck a solid blow with his hatchet. The serpent yowled again, its voice like bending iron. It darted in, lightning quick, knocking Sarah Lone down and biting at the other pirate he'd struck. He shouted and swung at its nose just as he ducked aside. Lena stared in horror as the maw of the thing passed just inches away from her. Then the serpent shifted back. Something in the wooden hull of the boat cracked at its movement. She drew her dagger and threw herself at the coil of the serpent, scrabbling over to Sarah Lone to hack and stab the monster. Its scales were too thick, though, too tough. The beast was going to break their ship and then devour them from the water, one by one. Sarah Lone caught Lena's eye. "Keep at it," she said. Then she stood, taking up her oar again in both hands, yelling, "Hey, hey, beast!" She turned and swung at the coil of the monster. The oar cracked in half with a sound like a gunshot. The serpent roared. It reared back and glared at Sarah Lone. The piratess grinned a feral grin and took up a stance with her broken oar. The monster darted down at her. I think we'll stop there.